Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Jenny. Good morning, Maureen. Good morning, everybody in the entire universe. Or good afternoon, good evening, whichever time it may or may not be. I hope everybody had a pleasant day yesterday. So, of course, sitting here shuffling and just kind of thinking. So next week, we'll be helping our daughter move out of her dorm into her first apartment, and I'm trying to figure out if I will be able to wake up and get a camera and do all this stuff and do the readings in the morning. I'm going to try, but we'll see how that works out. Because we're leaving early on Sunday morning, but still, this is an important thing for me also. The other thing I was actually thinking about, because one of the things I get asked about a lot is about, because I love reading tarot for tarot readers and I love teaching it, but I get asked about reversals. And when I'm talking to some people, I can see that how uncomfortable some people are with reversals. And I talk about the active brain and the passive brain. Active brain is when you're looking stuff up. You're not sure. You don't trust. Passive is when you just see something and instead of like worrying about what the books say, you go with what the cards say. And it's kind of like life in itself, where I talk about trusting our intuition, trusting. So, and it just kind of reminded me, since I'm also focusing on playing the guitar. And good morning, Aline Berube. Aline, I'm sure I mutilated that, but good morning, and I apologize for my pronunciation. But so it just had me thinking. It's since I'm a musician, you can read the notes exactly the way they're written on paper, and you can technically play piano. Most people could technically learn how to play piano note by note. But it's when you close your eyes and you drift off with different notes, that's when you're reading the tarot. When you're just kind of trusting and you go with that feel. Or if you are dealing with a situation where we're emotional, where we're this or that, and we just close our eyes and we go off the script and we just trust. So when we're reading reversals, it's the same thing. Everybody has a different opinion about reversals, and every book will tell you something different. So it'll confuse the heck out of you. Well, for you, what does it mean when you see a King of Wands reversed? Well, sure, throw out there that something's blocking the king, or we're not accomplishing something that we need to. Go with the feeling of the cards that are around it. What is the struggle in the other cards? And again, it just deals with life itself. We don't get a script. Every situation we go off script, and when you're playing music and you go off script, it's like, well, where are they going? It's like you can either find the most beautiful music in the world in yourself and just start trusting, or you can stop and stare and just panic. So it's just weird how the reversal thing and keep getting asked that, but it really is about just, there is no answer. There really is no answer on how to read reversals other than, is it blocked? Is something going on to keep that card from reaching its potential? And then what do the other cards tell you that give you a clue? Just like life when something's blocked. So, and I'd been sitting in here listening to the cards like they're the sounds of the ocean, and that just kind of reminded me to put my feet flat on the floor, roll my ankles as we're sitting here talking, because that feels darn good. But doing the kitty dance, checking in with the shoulders, and then the neck, and taking that breath, and with the neck, kind of doing that light switch thing. Where we're going into that different mode, that empathy mode, that mode where we're just trying not to question, we just trust. So, ta-da. There we are. But I do love, so I'll be reading the tarot again this weekend. And I love talking and answering questions and teaching. I don't know what it is, but that's just one of those things. And learning. I mean, when people read tarot, I love to ask them, well, what do you do about reversals? Or what do you do? Like I say, as a musician, it's the same thing. How are you doing that? So, guess what I have here? I have our 3 stacks. Each one a different thread going out to the universe. It's like each one's a different thought or idea. And if we believe in a multiverse, it's like each one of these is a different path, because this stack will lead down one path. This conversation's a totally different path from this one. So the question is, which thread do we want to pull? Today, let's go with the bottom one, or what I like to think of as what's underneath and might be influencing us and we don't even realize it. And I'm going to do hour, 3, and 1. So flipping them all over, or flipping them each over one at a time, like we're reading the pages of a book. And again, that first card is always the exciting one, because that kind of sets the pace. It sets the mood. Ooh, and today we have the Justice card. So what is justice? This comes up quite a lot, which I guess in this day and age, the universe is trying to tell us something. So with the Justice card, justice is not about legal. Justice is not about getting sued. Justice is about what? Seeing things clearly for the way they are. You know, if you look on any piazza in Italy, you'll see the Justice card there. You'll see that she's got her scales, she's got a sword, she's not blindfolded. The Justice card is just about seeing things clearly for the way they are. And sometimes using our intuition, we're doing that. We are trusting what we see. You know, instead of listening to the emperor's, you know, we know the story of the emperor's new clothes. We're told what we see. Where there's what we're told what we see, and there's what we actually see. And it's about trusting what we actually see and making note of it. So this angel is looking over, and this is the Golden Tarot, because I know I always get asked whenever I use this one, by Cat Black. So our Justice card is looking at the 9 of Cups. So what are cups? Cups are our spirituality, our emotions, our feelings. And 9s, with our numerology 1 to 10, we're working so hard to get to 10. And as I like to explain the 9, because 9s are fulfillment. 9s are, you know, when we work hard to get something. So from 1 to 9, if from 1 to 10, if this is a race, you know, you run 1, it's a seed. You start at the beginning line. 5 is the hill, because 5s are always challenges. And that's why 6 are about harmony. When we get, you know, towards 9, if it's a race, 10 is not the finish line. 9 is the finish line, right? 10 is what we do with our winnings. So 9 of Cups. So we work to get these small things that we have in our lives, right? We have, you know, accomplishments with our family, people that we love, things that we love, things that bring us an emotional joy and a spiritual joy. I get a spiritual joy from reading tarot. And so this is about recognizing those things that we've accomplished, that brings us those joys. So the Justice card is a major card. And that's the one that we want to really focus on, because it is about being clear-sighted. It's about seeing things for the way they are. And when we get to the 9 of Cups, then, seeing things for the way they are and still finding fulfillment. If we are not feeling, bouncing off the wall with joy, especially if we pick up the newspaper or something, the Justice card, when reflecting on the Nine of Cups, is saying, regardless of everything on the outside, let's trust on what we have on the inside and what we've accomplished. We all have negatives, but what are the positives? So let's see what the next card is then. It is the Four of Cups. So this pops up again. So again with spirituality, emotions, and feelings. Because that is our cups. 1 is a seed. 2 is balancing, because that makes sense, right? Choices. 3's choices made, and it's about growth. Then we have 4's. 4's are stability. Okay? So, when we get to 4's, and we're looking at this. So, 9 is when we need to start thinking about moving on to 10. So, we complete different cycles. Sometimes it's difficult to complete a cycle because we're comfortable where we are. So, with the 4 of Cups, there's different ways we can go with this. But as we look at this 4 of Cups, 4s are like the 4 legs on a table, which is stability, right? So when we're dealing with water, sometimes we want that emotional stability. Sometimes we are starting something out, and it's good to have that 4 of Cups. Other times we have the 9 of Cups. There's things that, we've accomplished. And sometimes, again, we just like to sit for a while in that. But water needs to flow. So if it is a pond, a healthy pond has water coming in and going out. And cups are the element of water. So if we were to block off one end or the other of that pond, and the water is no longer flowing, we have this beautiful pond because originally it was created because there was water flowing. Then when we get blocked, we get stagnant. We sit too long in something. Now, mind you, these are just the minor cards, the day-to-day cards, the welcome to a Thursday. This is where we get to reflect on, where am I at today? Am I sitting on something because I've done good enough? Do I need to progress forward? What is it that, maybe I want to take a look at. I'm going to use music again because, I haven't picked my guitar up in 2 days, and I talked about how much I've been enjoying and doing this, but I've been so busy. So I'm letting that kind of stagnate, especially since I've joined a choir and playing guitar for them. I've learned the songs technically, but I need to learn them instinctually so they just flow like the tarot cards do. So this is reminding me that it's like, what, I've accomplished something. I've joined the choir, I've learned the songs, but am I going to let that stagnate? Because again, music to me is joy. Music to me is water. So let's see what the advice card is. It is the 2 of Coins. Coins are our home, our health, our finances, and all these things that keep us grounded. 1 is a seed, and 2 is about finding balance. So again, I'm just going to use for me the example that popped in my head, that I've talked about joining this choir and playing guitar in it, and the joy that I get from that. And then it's like the past couple of days, I've been tired. I've been coming home. I haven't found time because been doing other things. So I'm letting that feeling stagnate. And the 2 of Coins is just saying, well, find a balance. Find a balance. We get where we are because we see things for the way they are. Sometimes it takes being sick and tired for our eyes to even be open. So here we have a cycle of, it's like I realize something needs to happen. I do it, but don't finish it because, well, I let it stagnate a little bit. I get sick and tired of being sick and tired. I find the balance. and I go back to seeing things clearly, and I pick that guitar up again. This could be guitar. This could be, I get joy from reading books, and yet I don't find balance in my life to read. I get joy from being with my kids, but right now I'm not allowing myself to find balance, which throws us off balance. So today, what is it that we are not allowing ourselves to do because we're not balancing the different aspects of our lives with the spiritual side, the joy side? The reason why the sun rises is because we find joy, you know? And so finding that joy again, you know, something that we've let stagnate. With that, I hope everybody has an amazing, amazing day. I hope we all find that one thing that it's like, oh, I've kind of been letting it stagnate. And we let the justice card do its job. We pick it back up again, and we find that balance. Take care, everybody. It was nice to meet you, Aline Berubi. I'm going to speculate and guess that's what it is, but it was nice to meet you. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you again tomorrow.
Stars in the sky, cards in my hand, searching for signs, lost in the sand. Whispers of fate, echoes of dreams in the dark slate. Nothing's as it seems. Flip the cards, turn around, the story